Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Sean Be Nice back here on Small Heat Rock. And today I'm getting back kind of to my roots, man. I want to just kind of do a video, just straight heads up, which phone is best for you, which one works the best, and which one, just the full comparison, okay? So let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. So I'm gonna tell you everything that I feel like the Note 9 has, and also list some of my dislikes, and then kind of do the same thing with the iPhone XS Max, and then kind of compare the two and let you know maybe which one is for you, and maybe if you kind of need to do that switch, right? We start with the Note 9 first. Now, to me, a few things the Note 9 have over iPhone that is just obvious, right, is customization, right? So even if it's not from maybe doing your own theme, which you can just go ahead and go to a theme store, obviously, like everyone knows. If it's not from changing, maybe you don't want to change the entire look of your phone, maybe you just want to change your icons. You can change just your icons. Like, there are a lot of things that you could do with the Android platform that you just cannot do over here on the iPhone. But here's the thing. So like, for example, let's just say, for me, I do a lot of work. I use my phone a lot at work, right? So if it's taking notes, record meetings, anything like that, but I don't want that on my personal side. So what I can do is set up a whole separate fingerprint just to access the work side of my phone. So right now, this is my ring finger, right? I mean, my index finger. So if I use my middle finger and open up my actual work side of my phone, which you see my LinkedIn account, Samsung notes that I take, if I'm on browsing on the internet, or my files, whatever the case is, all that is on a separate side from my phone. So when I go ahead and close it, open it back up with my regular fingerprint, it goes back here. So that's, to me, that's what I say as far as like kind of giving people what they want, right? Giving a customer what they need. So that's just one aspect, right? And even if from a battery life standpoint, this phone can literally give you throughout the whole day and some. Now, the only problem is, and this is why Apple just automatically just reigns supreme a lot, is a standby time. Standby time is just not good on Samsung device. It is what it is. Like, I can honestly say, like, if I come home and I got like 50% left, I'm gonna make sure I turn off. My mobile data and Wi-Fi, GPS. I'm turning off all of that. Anything that can drain the phone overnight, I'm turning that off, because I don't, like, if I want to make sure my phone get maybe 2 days, a day and a half, I can't leave that on. Because if I wake up and I have the Wi-Fi on, the Bluetooth on, this phone is definitely gonna be around maybe 25%, just being 100% honest with you. Here on the iPhone, that's definitely not the case. Not the case at all. So also, what people are gonna sit there and hate and probably say it's just a gimmick is the S Pen. Now, honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like the Note 9 shouldn't even be going up against the iPhone XS Max due to the fact that it has that many more features over. I feel like, honestly, a better comparison would have been the Galaxy S9 Plus versus the iPhone X Max, but I know people want to see the Note 9 versus this, so, and that's totally fine. But for example, if I wanted to open up my camera, right, hold down the S Pen, opens up the camera, I want to flip it, so you see the front side, you see it up here, I can take a picture with the S Pen as well, flip it back, take another picture. And I can tell you right now, this has definitely been crucial in cases where I was trying to get that perfect shot, maybe on a maybe someone that's like somewhere that's really, really high, or somewhere that's really, really low at an awkward angle. I was able to take this S Pen out and do that. Also, even just come from a multitasking standpoint, like say for example, you on YouTube, right? So we on YouTube, let's say we want to kind of minimize this, right? Now, this is a extra, I have a good lock on here, right? So it has I have the new multitasking feature, so I can go ahead and just fade this out a little bit, and it's still there, but it's now fading in the background, and it just looks way more inconspicuous, right? So if I kind of wanted to hear, but I want to kind of open up Audible, but I'm still with the YouTube thing here, it's still transparent. I can go ahead, and it's called ghosting, and you can make it even more transparent than that to the point you can't even see it, or you can bring it back full res again. These are the type of features that you just do not get on iPhone, right? Next thing that makes me love this Note 9 so much is the display. The display is, granted that, the display mate gave the iPhone and whichever phone a manufacturer is going to pay display mate to say they got the best display ever. Right now, to me, the Note 9 still has the best display, even compared to the iPhone XS Max. Now, don't get me wrong, the iPhone XS Max display is not terrible, but the Note 9 definitely has a better display to me, because one, I don't understand how a display mate even rated that, due to the fact that the Note 9 actually broke more records that had more greens than the iPhone XS Max. I don't understand how that was even the case. And this is an actual 2K display. So, and for example, let's go ahead and pull up an HDR video on YouTube. Now, I know this is not doing much because it's the display, right? I'm feeding you this to the camera, but I am shooting at a pretty high res. Again, I'm shooting at 4K 60. right? So, but just to kind of give you an idea, you can kind of look at the picture now. So we're gonna make sure this is on HDR, 720. I'm gonna put that at 1440. HDR, bring that out. Let's see if we even have the option on here. We do, but you can't even go up to 1440p because it's not a 2K display on the iPhone XS Max. So the Note 9 is clearly already gonna have the win. All right, we're gonna put 1080p 60. And we're gonna hit play. Now, this, I'm gonna stop it right there. You can clearly see a difference here. Now, on the camera, it's gonna show like this is kind of blown out, but what I'm looking at right now, it is nowhere near blown out. The Note 9 is definitely a better display. And we can go ahead and turn this up. Let's go ahead and make sure the brightness is up for you guys sit there in the comments and troll me. So we're going to go ahead and turn the brightness up. Brightness wasn't even maxed out on the Note 9, which is crazy. The colors to me just pop a little bit more on the Note 9, right? Again, you really won't be able to tell on the through camera, but it looks good. And I'm not saying that the iPhone looks bad. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is the fact that this here, it's not a 2K display, so you get more pixels, sharper image. It just looks good. Now, if I was somewhere, if maybe somebody showed me these phones, am I gonna sit there and look like, oh man, hey, wait a minute, that's not a 2K display. Get that out of here. No, I'm not gonna do that. But what I'm saying is, I don't see how DisplayMate can even say that, right? But they both do look good, period, okay? So, moving on. So we got the display. Now, as far as speakers, let's go ahead and just give a test, right? Let's just hear how the speakers sound since we kind of already like in that option. Now, honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I like the way the iPhone speakers sound, so that might be a clear win for them. Let's go ahead and turn the speakers up on the Note 9. All right, so now we can go ahead and go to the iPhone. Again on the Note 9. They actually both sound really good. But again, the iPhone has kind of got more, it's a fuller sound, you know what I mean? It just sounds good. Just being perfectly honest with you, it sounds really good on the iPhone XS Max. Now, as far as design is concerned, but see, again, that was just a prime example of just multitasking. I was watching this, I wanted to back out, and automatically minimizes and picture for me. Not only that, what most people don't know is you can do the same thing on Netflix. So let's say if you're watching something, right? Let's say you're watching this on Netflix. Okay, you're like, oh man, I just got a message. Go ahead and do that. Boom, it minimizes for you for Netflix as well. These are the type of features that make you want a big screen phone, and I feel like the iPhone just missed that mark. But before we even get on to that, let's talk about design. Now, the Note 9 to me has it's a well-built device. I love this blue color. I love the aluminum around the edges, this glass sandwich build. I'm feeling it. It's amazing. So you pair that with the fact that it still has a headphone jack, a USB-C charging port, it's IP68 rating, and it has an S Pen, dual speakers. I mean, from a build standpoint, this phone checked off a lot of boxes for people. And it did all this in a 4,000 milliamp hour battery packed inside of it. Like, and a fingerprint sensor on the back. Like, what more can you ask from a device? Now, moving on to the iPhone XS Max, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. If I had to pick, I might go iPhone XS Max as far as design is concerned, because this stainless steel gold here, it's just a fire color. Like, look at that. It's fire. Apple can design something, man. If they can't do nothing else, they can design something, make you be like, yo, I need that. I want that. And not saying the Note 9 is ugly, but it's just like, it's a difference. You know what I mean? Like this one here, like you get to see the craftsmanship. You can see craftsmanship in here too, but we all know how meticulous Apple is about certain things, and it feels good in the hand. I kind of like the rounded sides. It make it easy to grip in my hand. Here, this seems like the edges can be a little sharp because of like the way it's kind of hard on the side. It feels good. Okay, this stainless steel feels good. If Note 9 kind of went to the stainless steel joint, I would definitely welcome it with open arm. Now, here's the thing. Now, with all that aside, right now we discussed all the features that the Note 9 has. We talked about the fact that you can have a whole separate, you know, fingerprint to access a different part of your phone. We talked about, you know, we didn't really discuss on it too much, but it has an always on display. The fast charge came in a box. You know, the battery is definitely better on the Note 9 than here than the iPhone XS Max. But there's something that makes people come back to the iPhone XS Max, right? Because here's the thing, there's not a bunch of features that I can name off that this phone has that this phone doesn't, right? So even base storage wise, this phone is 128 gigabytes of onboard storage with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and I can put an SD card in it. This one here is just a base model of 64 gigabytes, which is foul to me. First of all, this phone should not cost more than this phone and come with less storage. Like, that's ridiculous. There's no excuse for that. But again, there's something about Apple that makes me come back, because despite all of that, despite how many wins the Note 9 gets and how many boxes the Note 9 has, people would still choose this phone over this. And the reason why is because user experience, man. Let me tell you something. Apple got that game like sold up. User experience on iPhones, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, you guys know I'm not a huge like Apple fan, but I've learned to like actually like Apple because one, iMessage, right? They capitalize on the biggest thing that people like to do on their phone, which is communicate. I don't understand why, and this is crazy, I don't understand why the Note 9, as many features they copy from Apple, they haven't copied something like S Message. Why have you not copied something where anybody who got a Galaxy device, you guys can have your own type of like iMessage type of thing? We need that, Samsung. I'm gonna make sure I say that in every video I have a Samsung product. Give me something like S Message. And granted, they did just work out a deal with Google where they can support RCS, and when we get Android Pie, I think pretty much any carrier that supports RCS will be able to, we'll be able to do that. But again, iMessage is way more secure, from the Memoji things to from the simple task of you sending like, let's go to a message just real quick. So we go to my iPhone, right? ISO is pretty crazy. But here on the iPhone, right? So if she wanted to send me her Memoji, she could, right? She could do that. You got the monkeys, or we could pay each other through Apple Pay. Now, don't get me wrong, we can pay each other on Google as well, like through Google Wallet. But Samsung, why doesn't Samsung Pay have the ability to, I can send somebody money who has another Samsung device? This is the things I'm talking about. Like, yes, Samsung is definitely the top Android phone. Let's just be real. Like, I understand that OnePlus 6 and Huawei, they're coming through and they're changing the game and shifting it in a much needed way. But at the end of the day, the Note 9 is still like, Samsung is like the top of the food chain. Let's just be real. Like, when most people think of Android devices, the first thing that kind of pops to the head is Galaxy phones. That's just the real. So I feel like Samsung need to capitalize on that, because honestly, they did. Like, people like LG, let's be real, LG does not really stand in the same light as Samsung phones. Nobody really goes out and pick up an LG phone. The most phones you see on the street are Galaxy users and iPhone users, and that's just the truth. So to me, Samsung really needs to capitalize on the fact that people are buying the devices and they want these just simple communication features. Like, another example, I was on a road and I had to record a voice memo on the iPhone, right? The iPhone actually saved the memo's name as the location of the expressway I was on. So I was on I-55 when I was making a voice memo. It changed that. Like, it titled the note I-55 1, I-55 2. And this is what, and at the end of the day, right, that's what Apple does. It's the user experience, right? So from the cameras. So no, Apple doesn't have like a manual mode, but you can download an app for it. But they're like, hey, people don't care about that. They want to be able to pull out their phone, take a great picture, right? So let's take a picture of this real quick. And we'll actually compare pictures as well. So I'm gonna take a picture of this. Boom. And one time for the Android, for the Note 9. Boom. I go ahead and throw both of these up on the screen so you can go ahead and compare them for yourselves. Now, for some odd reason, the iPhone has like kind of a hue to it. I don't know. I would say the Note 9, which is on the right, is definitely a little bit warmer, and the iPhone is definitely a little bit cooler. But both of them will look good. Both of them are still sharp. Again, it's more of a preference thing. And then one time for the selfie game on the iPhone, and then for the Note 9. Excuse me, my roughness. I haven't had a haircut yet. Now, what's funny is both of these iPhone this year is kind of known for like putting a beauty filter on your face, which I call Samsung out every year for doing that, man. Look, y'all. I don't want, despite what other people may say, I don't want you to filter out anything on my face at all. Don't do that. Let me, whatever blemishes I have, I ain't trying to catfish nobody. Let me have those, and so they can see right up front what they getting themselves into. I just don't like cheating, okay? Just do not put beauty filters on people's faces, man. Nobody likes that. And as far as security is concerned, again, people hated the fact that Apple removed the fingerprint scanner, but Face ID works well on this phone. I deregistered my face when I get my wife her phone back, but even still, like if I had to take a choice between iris scan and Face ID, I would probably choose, I don't know, it would be a toss up. It's more of a preference thing. One scans your eyes versus one scans your face, and they both work pretty fast. So that would be like more of a, that's up to you, man. You know what I mean? But again, it's all about user experience, right? Because the moment, because for some odd reason, I don't know why. Now I know the Note 9 will be getting like a lift to raise or lift to weight feature, but they don't have it now. But the thing is, when I double tap on this iPhone, it wakes up the screen. When I pick it up, look at it like that, it wakes up the screen. And I think Samsung, again, I know you guys are doing, but that's a feature that should already been pre-installed on the phone already. Another area where Apple wins is probably gonna be in the video category. Now, granted, they both do 4K 60, but they don't have a time limit on theirs, and they do 4K 24 frames per second. So this phone can be used to do some really nice filming and look realistic. We don't have the 24 option, the 24 frames per second option on the Note 9 or any Samsung device. You only get 4K 60 and 4K 30 and like the other ones, right? But this one does have super slow mode, 960 frames per second, and this one does not. This one has, we can go to the camera mode right now. So you record a video up to 720, 1080 at 30, 1080 at 60, 4K at 24, 4K at 30, and 4K at 60. And for the front facing camera, you actually got a 1080 60 as well, which you do not have on the Note 9. So again, I think, and you also have Smart HDR, which you kind of got on Note 9 too. But the thing is, Apple kind of, they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like they know that people most people are vlogging nowadays on their phone. They know that most people are using their phones to film certain movies, and most people use iPhones to film movies, right? So to put 24 frames per second on this phone was like a no-brainer for them. And even like, for example, the fact that they're not even giving you an adapter anymore for the headphone jack, because they know people are gonna go buy AirPods. Like Apple just know how to appeal to the customers, and they make fantastic product. It is what it is. And not saying the Note 9 is a bad product, but all I'm saying is, overall, at the end of the day, user experience is one thing. So out of all the features I named on this Note 9, why is it that I still feel comfortable having an iPhone as my daily driver as well? It's because of the user experience. When I swipe through something, or when I, for example, if I click on, we'll go to Twitter. All right, we go click on the tweet, it'll open right up. Sometimes on Samsung phone, like if I have a message, right, and I swipe this down, I know some of you guys has had this problem too. When you swipe down and then try to access something through your notifications, it doesn't work all the time. It's like hit or miss, and I don't like that. Again, it could just be me, but at the end of the day, that's an experience that I do not go through on my iPhone. And I said the iPhone doesn't have hiccups, but it's just the way they do things. They're more graceful. And that leads me to the thing, and that leads me to like the conclusion of this video. Now, at the end of the day, if I had to choose, which one would I choose to be my daily driver? Hands down a Note 9, because it's just a preference thing for what I use my phones for. The Note 9 just happens to fit my needs better than the iPhone. You know, from the S Pen, from the battery life, the fast charging, and they both have wireless charging. You know, controlling my camera with the S Pen, controlling my media with my S Pen. There's just a lot of things I do with my Note 9 that I don't do with this phone. Now, granted, I don't use this feature, but if I wanted to, I could actually turn this entire phone into a computer experience. I could plug this phone up and it could turn to an actual desktop experience. Again, this is something that the iPhone can't do, and at the end of the day, people don't care, and this is why. Apple, think of it like this. You at a party, right? You see Samsung coming through, they driving a new Maserati, they booming through the street, whipping all crazy, you know what I mean? Like they showing off, they fun, right? But they still live in an apartment, you know what I mean? And the apartment's gonna be app development. Where here's an Apple, yeah, they may be sitting here driving a Toyota Camry. Toyota Camry still look nice, but at the end of the day, they got a 10,000 square foot mansion or something like that. You feel what I'm saying? Apple's like, yo, we're gonna invest in stocks, get a bigger crib, and they invest their time in app development and user experience, which Android still has not gotten yet. And at the end of the day, I would rather have a bigger crib than a fancier car. Just being honest with you. Now, granted, I like my fancy car, but as far as a usability, like if I had to choose, I'm choosing a roof over my head, you know, versus the car. So again, The winner for me would definitely be the Note 9, but it's not due to it just outright being better than the iPhone. It's really just because it's a preference. I like for what I use my phone for. This fits my needs. But honestly, I would have no problem with turning this phone over, putting it to the side, rocking this, especially with the Apple Watch. Okay, let me tell you guys something right now. Between this and the AirPods, this is the best thing that Apple has brought to the table in a long time. The Apple Watch Series 4 is amazing. From the display, how intuitive it is with you, like even for the health things, you're like the health services on Apple makes me want to do healthier things because of their animation. It's like, yo, I just got the red circle cuz I got the blue circle. Like, it makes me want to do healthy things versus on the Gear S3 or the Galaxy Watch. Not saying that the Galaxy Watch is trash, but compared to the Apple Watch, honestly, I don't really see a huge competition. Like the display alone, even though like the display is like pretty much technically bigger on, again, this is the Gear S3, not the Galaxy Watch, but honestly, the Gear S3 is just a Galaxy Watch with MST. But even still, like with the display looks good. It has an animation. Let me show you guys my favorite animation on this watch. It's with the jellyfish. And most people who had this watch knows about the jellyfish. Look how graceful that looks. That looks like, here's the thing. This is what Apple did. They took the iPhone, shrunk it down, put it on your wrist. Samsung did not do that with Tizen. Tizen is good, but it's nowhere near on Apple Watch level. And honestly, this combo right here can make me put down my Note 9 in this and pick this up because of the user experience. The watch with the iPhone is fire. It is a well thought out combination versus the Gear S3 and the Note 9. The Gear S3 and the Note 9 does not even compare, I'm sorry, to the Apple Watch experience with the iPhone. The connectivity, the way it interacts, even with your notifications, right? So look at my notifications here. Shout out to my boy for Fresh Tech TV. Yeah, I probably see that notification pop up, right? So you see notifications here, right? So let's go to the notifications that I have on here. Look at that, I don't have anything right now, but it's, again, it'll just be the way they display the cards. You know what I mean? Here, it's just like a static movement, cool, but here it's more intuitive, it's graceful. It's just like, that's what Apple got, yo. It's a graceful, elegant experience. If your first time owning a smartphone, I would honestly maybe point people to the Apple direction. I feel like Apple kind of just easy wins in the process, whereas, you know, they take care of you for your first time. Samsung's got like, yo, man, we gonna ram it in and you gonna like it. If not, choose something else. So, you know what, again, it's a hard pick, but if I had to pick, I would go Note 9, but that's not saying the iPhone XS Max is terrible. Honestly, yo, like, this is definitely my strong number 2, without a doubt. iPhone compared with the Apple Watch, fire. So, hope y'all like me just getting back to my roots, man. I kind of feel like I've been doing like a lot of videos with cinematography in it. I kind of feel like I just wanted to do a video, just got straight to the point. Maybe this video may be long, but I feel like I covered everything I wanted to cover in this video to let you know which device may be for you. Again, this is like $9.99. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, is $10.99. You definitely get more for your money here. Even with the ecosystem, not saying Samsung got a trash ecosystem. You know, we got the Gear 360, you got the headphones, wireless charger. Like, Samsung definitely has their own ecosystem and accessories, but again, it's not on Apple level, and that's just the honest truth. After years of this whole Android versus Apple debate, I'm done with it, yo. I like both, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. You know, since I don't have to pick, I will rock both in my pocket, but you know, Apple is here, yo, and Android got a long way to go as far as user experience. I'm sorry, they need some more work. So hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. Back to the roots. If you did, man, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the notification bell. Hit the thumbs up button, man. Share this video. Let's go ahead and expand this channel more than what it is already now. It's your boy Sean, be nice, and I'm out. Deuces.